All right, let's talk about something that drives so many of us runners crazy. You look down at your Garmin, you see that heart rate number, and you just have to wonder, is that thing for real? Can you actually trust it? We're going to dig into that right now.
You've been there, right? You head out the door for what's supposed to be a nice, easy run. You're feeling great, barely moving, and you look down at your watch and it's just screaming at you, 160 beats per minute. You're thinking, no way, I haven't even started breathing hard yet.
And then, just as suddenly, maybe a minute or two into the run, the number just tanks. It drops right back down to something that actually makes sense. It's super confusing, isn't it? It really makes you second guess the whole thing. Like, how much can I really trust this?
So, we're going to break this all down. First, we'll get into how these wrist sensors even work. Then, we'll talk about why there's this weird lag in the data. After that, we'll figure out what numbers to actually trust, how to wear your watch correctly, and finally, we'll wrap up with the best tool you've got, your own body. Okay, let's start at the beginning. How does your watch even get that number in the first place? What's the tech behind it? Well, your watch uses something called an optical heart rate sensor. You've seen those little green lights on the back, right? It's actually pretty clever. It shines that light into your wrist. Now, because your blood is red, it absorbs green light. So every time your heart beats, a little pulse of blood flows through your wrist and absorbs more of that green light. The watch is basically just measuring how that light reflection changes, and from that, it figures out your heart rate. It's a really cool piece of tech, but yeah, it's definitely not perfect. So what messes with this system? Well, a whole bunch of things. If you're moving around a lot, especially in a sprint, the watch can shift and lose a good reading. Cold weather is a big one. It makes the blood vessels in your wrist shrink, so the signal gets weaker. And of course, if your watch is too loose, or even too tight, that can throw things off. Heck, even not being sweaty enough at the start of a run can mess with the sensor's connection. All this stuff is why you get those weird, wacky numbers right at the beginning.
But it's not just about a bad reading. There's another huge piece of this puzzle, and it's something you can't really see. It's a time delay. The number you see on your screen, well, it's not what's happening in your body in real time.
Think about it like this. First, you start the effort. Let's say you hit a hill and start pushing. That's when you feel it get tough. Then, a few moments later, your heart gets the message and starts beating faster. Your actual heart rate goes up. But it's only after that that your watch finally catches up, processes the change, and shows you the new number. There's this built-in delay between all those steps. And we're not talking about a tiny delay. It can be anywhere from 10 to like 20 seconds. Think about what that means for interval training. When you're in the middle of a really short, hard effort and you glance at your watch, that number is basically old news. It's telling you what your heart was up to 10 or 20 seconds ago, not what it's doing right this second. Okay, so if the moment-to-moment numbers can be kind of sketchy and delayed, what's the point? What data is actually useful? It's all about learning how to separate the signal from the noise. Here's the deal. You want to focus on the big picture. That average heart rate for your entire run, yeah, that's usually pretty solid. And the report you get after your run showing how much time you spent in each heart rate zone, that's gold. What you really want to learn to ignore is that crazy spike at the beginning of the run. And definitely don't obsess over the exact number you see in the middle of a 30-second interval. It's all about the trends, not the blips. Now, the good news is you're not just stuck with bad data. There are actually some really simple things you can do to get a much better reading. And it all starts with how you actually wear the watch. It's super easy, just 3 little things to remember. First, don't wear it right on your wrist bone. Slide it up your arm about 2 fingers width above it. There's just more stuff there for the sensor to read. Second, make it snug, a little tighter than you'd wear it just sitting around so it doesn't bounce. And third, in the winter, keep it warm. Tuck it under your sleeve. That keeps the blood flowing to your skin and gives the sensor a much better chance. And in terms of reading the data, change your mindset. Like we said, the average heart rate for the whole run is your friend. And always cross-reference the numbers with how you feel. If the watch says you're in zone 2, but it feels like an all-out sprint, something's off. Trust your body. And if you see a really weird number pop up, the absolute best thing you can do is just ignore it. Your own feeling of effort is a critical piece of this puzzle. And that really brings us to the most important point of all. We get so caught up in the tech, but at the end of the day, it's just one part of the equation. Yeah, this is really the whole point. You can't be a slave to the numbers. The real power, the thing that will make you a better runner, is using the watch data together with how you feel. That's when it all clicks. Look, your watch is an amazing tool. It gives you some incredible insights, especially over the long term. But it's not the absolute truth. Think of it as a guide, not a drill sergeant. You are always the one in charge. So here's a little something to think about on your next run. When you look down at that watch on your wrist, what are you really going to pay attention to? The number? Or what your body is telling you? Something to chew on. Thanks for tuning in.